want to first start with like, what are the consequences of not having the function of a content manager?
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, I think one of the key things that we look for when we go into an organization and we're focused on their content supply chain is we look at the roles and responsibilities around sales content creation. And if I ask who's in charge of creating content and the answer is, well, everybody sometimes, it's really clear that there's not a defined content manager.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Is that typical? You know, we started an engagement with someone, like one of the things that I feel like when we have conversations with folks is like, hey, we see this all the time. So if that's you out there and like, you know, no one owns content or manages it, or like you've got 5 or 6 people doing it, like just rest assured, like that is normal, but it doesn't have to stay that way.
Another thing that happens without a content manager is that content isn't produced on a consistent or reliable timeline. And one of the reasons that is because if there's no central point of content creation within an org, then you'll have maybe a quarterly sales play, or a team member will raise their hand and they'll say, hey, let's put these new pieces of content into our sales engagement platform. And then it'll get done, but then there's no continuity. There's no way to say, let's do this every quarter, or let's review this content every quarter, because since it's an aside of everyone's job, everyone can be thinking, well, someone else will get to it, and it's not a key responsibility. So that's something else that I see a lot, is that content is created in sort of bursts throughout the year, but there's no comprehensive strategy, and the content manager is really responsible for holding that together.
Got it. So we're talking about consequences of not having the function. Roles and responsibilities around sales content creation can be unclear. Content becomes an aside of everyone's job. No one really owns it or manages it. It's just kind of like, we do this as an organization type of thing, and that can get super, super messy, especially over time. And then there's not a reliable, timeline. Like, hey, here is when we do certain things. And one of the things I think about is, if you think about sales, right, and especially from a full cycle standpoint, like a rep will go and prospect, fill their pipeline up, and it's like, all right, like we got this great pipe. We spent all this time prospecting. We've got this great pipeline then, and now they got, the pipeline's so good that they're focused on the pipeline, and then prospecting goes on the wayside, right? And so it's very like, there's peaks and valleys, and I could see where that can be the same case with content. Is that what you're seeing out there?
Yeah, that's true. If you're only producing content with, a vision of the next month or the next quarter, by the time that content is effective and you start to build your pipeline, you need to backfill that with something. And if you don't have, evergreen sequences, or you don't have a comprehensive content strategy, that strategy is going to be short-lived, and you're going to always be kind of scrambling to get to the next thing.